It was early November of 1997 when I started noticing something strange. During my sessions as a child psychologist in Maine, it began innocently enough. One of my young patients, a boy I had been working with for anger and depression, started talking about a new friend. He called this friend Mr. Smile. At first, I assumed it was nothing more than an imaginary friend, something many children develop to cope with their feelings, especially in difficult times. The boy described Mr. Smile in detail. He was always smiling, he said, and when he was around, everything felt happy. It was as though all the anger and sadness disappeared in Mr. Smile's presence. He wouldn't speak, but he would stand there at the foot of the boy's bed, radiating a sense of calm and safety. According to the boy, Mr. Smile even smelled like candy floss, which somehow made him feel better. I thought little of it at the time, a coping mechanism, perhaps, or a way to process his emotions. But then another patient, a girl around 9, brought up Mr. Smile, and then a -1-year-old boy, then a 12-year-old boy. Soon, an 11-year-old girl mentioned him too. By the time nearly 15 different children had mentioned this same Mr. Smile, all describing him in eerily similar ways, I began to feel a deep sense of unease. Coincidence wasn't enough to explain this anymore. The descriptions were always the same. They all said he stood at the foot of their beds, always smiling, making them feel happy and safe. None of the children had ever met one another. They were from different schools, different neighborhoods, and some were even homeschooled with little contact outside of their families. Still, their descriptions of Mr. Smile were disturbingly identical. I began asking the children more questions, probing for details, but they could never describe much about Mr. Smile's appearance beyond his ever-present grin. He wasn't like them, they said, but when I pressed for more, they would get confused, as if they couldn't find the right words. One thing they did agree on was that he would sometimes sing to them. The song was soothing, but none of them could understand the language. They said it sounded like a lullaby, and it made them feel safe. I spoke privately with each of the children's parents. I didn't want to alarm them unnecessarily, but I told them that something troubling had come up in my sessions and that I believed there was a potential risk to their child's safety. The parents, understandably concerned, gave me their permission to contact the authorities. They wanted to be kept informed, but they trusted me to figure out what was happening. The police got involved quickly. Over the next week, they interviewed the children, trying to piece together who or what this Mr. Smile could be. The kids were asked how Mr. Smile got into their homes, but none of them could explain it. They'd just wake up, and there he was, standing at the foot of their bed. Some of them mentioned that he would sing softly, though no one could make out the words. Finally, the police asked the children to draw Mr. Smile, hoping that perhaps a picture would provide more clarity. Each child picked up a red crayon and, to my surprise, colored the entire page red. No faces, no features, just a solid rectangle of crimson. When asked about it, they insisted they had drawn Mr. Smile, becoming defensive when told that their drawings didn't resemble a person at all. They were adamant that red block was Mr. Smile, and they had drawn him perfectly. Baffled, I decided to show one of the red drawings to each child without revealing who had drawn it. To my shock, every single one of them, without hesitation, identified the red rectangle as a picture of Mr. Smile. It was at that moment I realized something was deeply wrong.